Hello, welcome to War of the Pies. My name's Si, that is Kev. This is a review of yesterday's match against Arsenal. No funny comments needed. Let's get on with it.
God, he scored so many goals.
We didn't score so many goals, Kevin.
We didn't score any goals, Simon.
What's going on?
Didn't score any
at all.
goals at all.
How you doing?
But under the weather, to be honest with you. I don't know if it's just the change of the seasons or what.
So not because you got wrecked yesterday.
No, it's actually not. No, I haven't said that since I've been in the shower. And pulled myself on it. I don't feel as bad. But
The hangover's going.
It's not a hangover. Don't get hangovers.
In the words of Jimmy Neal, I don't want nobody else to do. You're lying.
But yeah, I mean, if I'm a little slow on the uptake or anything like that, you have to bear with us. And I'm also slightly distracted by the Mackhams next to us.
Will you turn the telly off? Because that's going to be annoying.
No.
You know, with those glasses on, the way the light's reflecting from your front window, you look back up a bit. You look like, and God rest his soul, Dame Edna Everage. What's this new hipster look with the glasses? Like, why?
I don't. It just help to see, Simon. That's the main use, really. For any image or anything like that. They just said to help us see.
Could you not have got a normal frame instead of going, tell you what, Mr. Optician, I'd like a look that looks a lot like how my nana used to be in the 1980s at the bingo. I've got you covered, son. Yeah, you got it.
Some actually, I was at a wedding. Was it a wedding? Yeah, it was. It was a wedding last year. In Alston, and some Scouse woman come up with us and asked for a picture taken with us because she thought I really looked like Jurgen Klopp. She said, "Hey, you look like our Jurgen. You look like our Jurgen. Can I get me picture taken with you? I could never believe this." I was like, "If you want to."
I don't say any Klopp in here.
Yeah. So, neither do I. So, I was a little bit offended, if anything. She was like, "It's just your teeth and your glasses."
You have got white teeth, Kevin, but you do look like, I say, Dame Edna Everage. Vinny, lie down. The dog's all distraught because the wife's away on holiday. Lie down. Lie down. Go there, little baby.
This is turning into pet podcasts, isn't it?
Yeah. He's lying down for now.
A pet pod.
Yeah. I've been coming off some medication, which is messing my head up. So I've been lucid dreaming a lot. I had a dream last night that I was in a Victorian style movie production with Sammy Dobson. She's an actress from the Northeast. And that's probably because I was filming with her the other week. But then halfway through, I thought, fuck off. I had not be cast in this. I'm dreaming, aren't I? And Sammy was like, "Hi, course you're dreaming." I was like, "Oh, mint. Oh, do you want to go for a fly?" She was like, "I saw it." Went out. And where the set was, it was start trying to fly. She flew. Like, she was like, off. Right? And I tried to fly, and I couldn't fly. I just couldn't fly at all. And then a big gang of people, I'm assuming it was the Denton Burners, because she used to be in Peter Grove, were like coming towards us with sticks and bats and that. I was shouting, "Sammy, come back, help!" And she'd like fucked off, like gnashed off into the sky. And then I realized that I wasn't dreaming, even though I was dreaming. And they were just about to brace. So I remember throwing one punch. And as I threw the punch, I woke up and I hit the wall. So I've got a little bit of mark across my knuckles there.
I was dreaming the other day. You were in the dream.
Bring on your story. Good.
No. It ties into this. It ties into this because you were in my dream. And no. Do you know what we're doing? We're boiling eggs. I was getting really, really frustrated because every time I tried to de-shell the egg, it was like crumbling in my hands. We're having to start again and reboil the eggs. So
that's our friendship crumbling with you not putting enough commitment in. I think that's what the message that dream says.
Or it could just be like you look a bit like an egg.
Could be that as well. Anyway, Kevin, are you ready?
No.
You ready? You fucking
Okay, let's go.
So, yesterday
happened, didn't it?
I wasn't there. Didn't feel great. Had a really bad neck. Couldn't go give the ticket to Nikki. She went in my place. I watched it on the telly, so I got to see everything in glorious HD, right up close. So yeah, I pretty much know what happened.
Yeah, I spent a lot of the match shouting at anybody that would listen.
Team sheets. Isaac and by the way, in an interview the other day, Alexander Isaac called himself, because he introduced himself. He went, "Hello, I am Alexander Isaac." So he's called Isaac. So this Isaac thing apparently comes from Spanish TV, the way they say Isaac. So I will no longer be saying Isaac. I'll be saying Isaac.
Well, I've always said Isaac, and I've been trying to make myself say Isaac. So now that I know I was right, I'm probably going to start keep saying Isaac now, which is annoying. I had it right the first time.
I'm going to try my best to say Isaac. So anyway, Isaac and Wilson starting up front. Murphy, who else? Gordon benched. Maxi back on the bench. Miggy on the bench. Back five the same. Longstaff still out. So middle of the park line up the same. What were your initial thoughts?
I was excited to see Isaac and Wilson starting together.
Me too. I was also worried about Longstaff. I was being out.
Yeah, I was, but I mean, I don't know if we'll see him again this season. I think he may be out for the season now.
That worries me a lot.
Yeah, it worries me a lot as well. But I'd called it out, didn't I, on the video with Dan, that I thought he would start Isaac, and Wilson, and it was to be true. Isaac on the left.
Yeah.
I like him better in the middle.
I
like him better in the middle. He does cause problems from the left-hand side, but I like him better in the middle. I think he's better utilised there. I think he's more of a threat through the middle.
Yeah,
is my initial thoughts. So getting a little bit ahead, I don't think you'll see them starting together on the next game.
No, I wouldn't have thought so either. But speaking of on the left, with the very first minute of the game, Joe Willock got down on the left, got a ball in, eventually dropped to Murphy, who kind of like stopped and readjusted himself in the box before taking a shot, which hit the post.
Yeah, it was a really fiery start. The fans had been up for it. There was the scarves were out. Everybody had a flag. There was a lot of noise, and we got out the traps with, like you say, a break down the left-hand side from Joe Willock, who, as I'm sure we'll go on to, had a bit of a mixed game for me. Didn't necessarily have a bad game, but wasn't. He was a bit wasteful with his opportunities, but I'm sure we'll move on to them. But in this particular instance, put a ball across for Murphy. There was nothing wrong with it. He was just a bit unlucky to hit the post. It was a decent enough shot. Came back towards Callum Wilson, and it was hit so hard it just came off the post too fast to Wilson, so he was never really going to get anything on it.
Yeah. Well, a few minutes later, Isaac had a shot that was blocked. We then got a corner, which was played short and wasted. Carried on that intense pressure. On the 8th minute, we were convinced, and I was convinced until I saw the replay, that we had a penalty from a handball.
Yeah, I want to talk about it. I mean, when we saw the replay in the ground, it didn't show the full incident. It just showed, like, I'm going to move back. It just showed that. So with the ball there.
Yeah.
So it looked like it was a handball. Now, when I've seen it back, the actual motion of it hits off his leg. Just go onto this part of his arm here. Goes onto this part of his arm here. And you asked Matoma if that's a handball or not.
Yeah.
Apparently
but if it hits off your leg, then
is it to do with your arms in a natural position or not?
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if I'm going like that. I go like that. I don't go like that. I've never lifted my leg and went like that.
I don't know. There was one shot on Sky that was a really, like, the zoomed right in on it. And yeah, it looked like it had hit his thigh.
Did hit his thigh? Hit his thigh, did. But after the thigh, it does go onto the arm, and again, it's because you're having that conversation, and the referee knows it goes up off his arm, right, onto his arm, because that's why he spent so long looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
And it does boil down to the question: is his arm in a natural position for that kind of movement? And I say to you, it's not. Now, what the ruling's supposed to be?
Clear and obvious error.
And obvious error.
That's my frustrations about it.
Clear. And what also annoyed is was it Andrew Mariner who was the referee yesterday? I think it was. So he's looking at it. He's walked away from the screen, and I'm telling you now, he still hasn't made his mind up when he's walking away from the screen.
Mm.
So I don't know why, because every single referee you see that goes to the screen, right? They'll look at it like that. They'll look at it. And as soon as they make the mind up, you can physically see them make the mind up. They'll go, right, they'll blow the whistle, they'll turn around, they'll go like that, and they'll do the little signal. He looks at it, and he walks away, and he's got players coming over to him, and he still hasn't made a decision.
Mm.
And you can almost see him like sort of still listening to somebody in his ear. And they don't know. They don't know. And he decides then, I'm not going to give it. That's what was incorrect about the decision. If he was unsure, and it's not clear and obvious, he doesn't look at it and go, oh, I've made an absolute blinder there. Oh, I've made a howler there. Just sort of his original decision.
Yeah, I know that's the whole thing, isn't it? But anyway, was what it was, frustrating. And then it only got more frustrating as 6 minutes after the Morton Odegaard done a class strike, really. Megged Botman. The back, well, yeah, he was given a lot of space, but then again, they were defended deep. Do you know what I mean? Which is what you would want to do against a team like Arsenal. So it wasn't an easy goal by any means. So you've got to say that was a good goal. You're
gonna concede chances like that against Arsenal. Look, I mean, and there's no shame in losing to Arsenal.
No, they've been top of the league all season for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, the story, like, I mean, we'll talk about that particular goal first. I think Pope saw it late. It goes through the legs of Sven Botman and then past another defender, and he does move that little bit late, but it's right in the corner. And anyways, I don't think it ever would have made much of a difference. No. But yeah, a good strike and I called him out as one of the players to score. I said Jesus in Odegaard because he's in good goal scoring form at the moment. What I would say is just sort of on a whole of that match yesterday, it was a case of us not putting much chances away, wasn't it? Yeah. I thought that first half was quite 50-50, to be fair. Nick Pope kept winning at times because they created a lot of chances. We also created a lot of chances.
Yeah.
And we probably should have been, a draw probably would have been a fair first half score.
Yeah, I mean, if Murphy's goal in the first minute had went in, penalty was given, it would have been a completely different game, obviously, but they didn't, and it wasn't. So on 18 minutes, Trippier got a corner, crossed it in, but Arsenal defended it. Then on the other end of the pitch, Martinelli had a good shot, which Pope saved. Not the first good shot that Pope managed to save. I think he stopped it from being a lot higher of a score. Our man of the match for me personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then midway through the first half, Saka broke clear, and he was in mountains of space, Saka, for that chance, where Pope managed to get it on his chest and then get rid of it.
Yeah, it was a bit worrying, that one, because it was just the gap between Shaw and Botman was pretty big, and it was just a straight ball. Just cut them straight open, and it was really, really easy. And I thought to myself, they need to tighten that up a little bit, especially against a team like Arsenal. Otherwise, sooner or later, you get punished.
Yeah. Well, then not long after, Bruno played in Willock, but Ramsdale come out to make a good save. Then 40 minutes, Odegaard slipped the ball to Martinelli down the left, but Martinelli fired wide.
I want to talk about the Willock one. He should have scored that.
Yeah.
should have scored that. It was a chance that well, you know where we sit. I just saw it opened up lovely, and I thought, yeah, we'll go. There's a goal here. He hit it straight at the keeper. You've got to be doing a bit better than that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I mean, he's having a great season. Don't get us wrong, and that's not me having a go or anything like that. But you've got to call it as you say it. That was a really good chance to score against his ex-club.
100%. And then into the final minutes of stoppage time, Trippier crossed in and Shaw headed it straight towards Ramsdale. Easy save.
Yeah, it was a free header. It was a free header.
And that won't be the first time we'll mention Shaw. It won't be the last time we'll mention Shaw.
Yeah.
But so we went in 1-0 down. Game still all to play for me. What was the mood like at the ground?
One of frustration towards the referee, because not just the penalty incident. I think he got a lot of things wrong yesterday.
Oh, Jesus was doing my fucking napper in all day long.
Aye. I mean, look at let's talk about Arsenal a little bit. I know I'm getting into the second half, but in that particular game, they got the tactics right. They frustrated the fans. They frustrated the team. They do what we do, a little bit of shithousery sometimes. We it's annoying when it happens against you, but I don't think we can sort of throw stones on this one because we do a lot of that, and they did it really well. And they got under the skin of the fans. But I do want to say that I think the referee lost it a bit. He did.
Yeah.
He was giving free kicks that weren't free kicks. When there was free kicks, he wasn't giving them, and that was for both teams. He was giving throw-ins to the wrong team. He gave us a corner down our end at one stage, which was a blatant goal kick, and he was like, I was like, this referee's having an absolute stinker. He just didn't seem to have any control over the game.
Well, he completely lost control in the second half because the fiery tempers were coming in, and he lost control of the pitch completely.
Aye, it wasn't his best game, Andrew Mariner. And what was really disappointing is that he doesn't have a lot of confidence, and like the penalty incident. We'll go back to that. Looking at it, and you can tell he's looking for advice from VAR. He's looking. I think he's waiting for them to tell him what to do. And I honestly believe that's what's happening when he's looking in there. He's wanting somebody to turn around and tell him what to do, which is worrying. If those referees shouldn't be in charge of games of second versus third.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. There needs to be an overhaul during the summer of the way VAR is used. The rules need to be more clear. They need to come out with more concrete rules around when and where VAR is then called in action. When the referees need to go to the monitor, that needs to be some clear guidelines on it.
I think there needs to be an overhaul of some referees. There's some all right referees, but there's some absolute stinkers as well. Andrew Mariner is a poor referee. It's called the bald guy. He used to have hair. Now he's completely bald.
I don't know.
Short guy. We always seem to get him, and he always looks lost.
Don't know the names of them. I know the names when I hear them, but I couldn't tell you them.
I can't think of his name. He looks like a prefect. Yeah, there's so many poor referees, and you know what it is. I would have loved for Andrew Mariner yesterday to just come back and go, actually, I don't see anything that really says I've had a stinker there. I want to stick to my decision, but he bottled it.
He didn't. Anyway, second half, just minutes in, Murphy crossed the ball to Isak, and Isak hit the post. That was one where I thought that was it. I'm watching it at home. I was convinced that's it. We're back in the game. Fortunately, hit the post.
Yeah, unlucky. I think Isaac got it was coming at a weird angle. He kind of like bends himself in half to get the header onto it, doesn't he? And at first when I saw it, I thought it'd been a save, but when I watched it back, it was hitting the post.
And then moments later, I'm reading this from the Chronicle, obviously. Moments later, Shaw rose for a header again, but Ramsdale made another save.
Yeah, he should have scored that one.
Yeah, and then
Should have
51
scored that one.
minutes down the other end, Martinelli hit the top of the crossbar.
Yeah.
A few minutes after that, Isak broke down and tried to slot in Wilson, but that was blocked. So we were still definitely in the game at this point.
yeah.
We're still 100%
Yeah,
in the game. Then Kieran Tierney, a player who we've been linked with a lot, came on for Zinchenko, who I don't think had a great game. I think if he had stayed on, maybe we would have got one back, which would have then livened things right up. But yeah, he hasn't looked good to me, Zinchenko. I think if you're Arsenal fans, have you mentioned that? But yeah.
Yeah, he's not consistent, is he? He does have the odd good game, and then he does drop mistakes as well. I think he's probably not an Arsenal caliber left back, but I think he'll stay there because of the injuries to Kieran Tierney. I think they're going to get rid of him in the summer, and I think he could be coming our way. And if he keeps himself fit, he's very welcome.
Yeah, that's it. It all depends on fitness. All depends on fitness. We don't need any more sick notes. Then minutes after that, I remember this one really because I was so frustrated. Joe Linton lines it up for Bruno, and Bruno just has the most piddliest, weakest little shot ever.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think at this stage there was a little bit of a feeling, not only on the pitch but in the stands as well, of it's not going to be our day.
Yeah,
we're probably not going to score today. I got that feeling about halfway through the first half, approximately. It became obvious that it's going to be one of those days we're not going to find the back of the net today, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, in 63 minutes, Howe brought Miggy on for Murphy. He looked lively, but ultimately it didn't go to plan as 19 minutes left. Martinelli, not too dissimilar from Isak, but nowhere near as good, marching all the way down the left to fire a ball straight in, to be waiting. I think it was Odegaard who was waiting on the far side, and there was Shaw and Botman in between, and Pope puts out a hand to try and get to it. Shaw puts out a foot. Unluckily, it's Shaw's foot that it hits and goes straight in the net.
I think Botman got stuck in two minds on this one. He shit himself when Martinelli ran at him because he backed off and he backed off and he backed off. I think he was scared of going, like, because he was running towards the box, and I always praise Joe Linton for this, you know, and Anthony Gordon does this to an extent as well. Is when you're coming down, if you can get into the box, then you're in a dangerous position then, because defenders are either going to back off or there's a chance of a penalty. But he backed off a little bit too early. I think Botman, he had a bit of cover then in terms of Shaw. So if he had went in for the tackle and Martinelli did do him, I think that Shaw would have been there to cover up, but he didn't. He kept backing off and backing off and backing off and backing off. And then before we knew, he was in the box and he backed off too much. The ball across from Martinelli had to be dealt with. Somebody needed to get a touch on it because, like you see, Odegaard was just waiting.
He would have opened net if it had got through.
Yeah, so Shaw, it's one of them ones. He had to get something on it, and unfortunately, the pace that was on the ball just sent it into the net. And
it did. Yeah. So after that, for me, the last 15 minutes were just frustration with Arsenal, stopping the game, going down in the referees' ears, winding up the Newcastle players who bit. Trippier was getting fucking proper aggy. They were all getting frustrated, very frustrated. Maxi came on, seemed to look lively, seemed to look good, but ultimately too little, too late, as Arsenal just parked the bus and played our shithousery against us, and it finished 2-0 Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, the horse had bolted by the time Maximin came on. So Maxi, although he did look lively and did give him something a little bit different to think about, it was a little too late at that stage. And yeah, the last 15 minutes, it was frustrating, but I think we could have played on for another hour and not scored.
Yeah.
It was just one, and it was just one of those days where the ball won't find the back of the net.
Yeah.
And yeah, you like you rightly say, look at that game management. We do it all the time. We do it all the time. In fact, we're probably the number one team in the league for game management, we'll call it. So I don't think we can complain too much about that.
Yeah. Well, my feelings are on the game that we didn't look at our best, looked frustrated, certainly missed Longstaff. I think we need a proper number 6. We need a defensive midfielder, 100% going forward. We need more that we can bring on. Our bench just isn't as strong as other teams who are at the end of the table that we're at. Ultimately, we got beat by a team who have been top of the league for the majority of the season and who could still, it's unlikely, but could still clinch the title. It's still a possibility. So they were obviously fighting for that. They knew we're a team that 18 months ago was fighting against relegation. Arsenal were never doing that. They were always up there fighting for Europe. So I have no real qualms with the team. I'm not going to slag the team or slate the team because this season has been outstanding. It's more than I could ever have imagined in me wildest dreams that we would get to a cup final and we would be a few points away from guaranteed Champions League. And that's what I want to move on to next. We're Arsenal. We've done my little review. We've told it. We've done it. Even though
just before we move on from that, did you see the bit of trouble outside the ground afterwards?
I've seen the fan in the ground. Did you see that? The guy in the ground, the Arsenal fan.
No.
Have you not seen that? It's everywhere. There's a guy in the East Stand.
So I know I haven't seen it, but I read somebody put a post up on one of the forums saying, who was the idiot Arsenal fan that came into the East Stand and celebrated when Arsenal scored?
Go on twice. He did, and then it all kicked off, obviously. And I mean, there's loads of drama on Twitter about some of the kids saying they never want to go and see football again. Well, I mean, it didn't get brain allowed. There was a couple of punches thrown, and my Ben would have loved it. You know what I mean? It's a frisk, isn't it?
But you would have loved it, Si.
But then again, it's just it's footy and it's.
You know my thoughts on violence in football. I'm not a fan of it.
I'm not a fan of it, but him.
It's stupid. What were you expecting? You know what I mean?
And apparently they started arguing with some Newcastle fans behind him, and then. But I watched it, and then two the Stewarts, right? Stavely and me dad, you need to replace the Stewarts, right? I am fucking half crippled, and I would fancy my chances against all of them Stewarts put together. Like they are not fit to Stewart. You've got the same team that Mike Ashley had. It's cheap. Me and Kev used to work at that firm when we were students. I used to do like festivals and that. They get paid the lowest amount of wage. I don't know if that's changed now, but they are not fit to do it. Like I worked on the doors and that years ago, and they're just the kind of people that you go, I don't want to be put on a fucking shift with that fucker. Like they'll not jump in. They're not going to help out. They look clueless. They look gormless all the time. They don't know what's going on. The stewardship needs to be changed, like 100%. But on that incident, it was what it was. Arsenal fan.
There was a little incident when they were warming up as well. One of the fans in a wheelchair, just next to where we sit.
Yeah.
I didn't see who it was, but one of the Arsenal players when they're warming up, absolutely blasted the ball off his face, and they had to get the St. John's ambulance people across. And no apology from the Arsenal player. I know, like that, just literally walked away as if it didn't happen. Saw it.
That's shocking. That's shocking. See, I would have laughed. But if it was me, if I was the football player, I wouldn't have laughed. I would be gutted, come run over, apologise straight away.
Oh no! Saw it happen, just walked away, like, and then he had to get medical attention.
Yeah, but I'm not into being shy to disabled people. But yeah, I would have laughed.
Well, I thought of you. I thought that's the type of thing that would happen to Si. That would Si getting blasted by the ball and then having to get medical attention.
Well, weirdly, this top, right? This top that I'm wearing, the last time I wore this is the World Cup final when I actually was in a wheelchair. Do you remember you? you decided you would take us round a roundabout, like on the main road in a wheelchair, like running around now.
Didn't happen, sir. I don't know what you're talking about.
But
anyway, no, the original point, just before we move on,
okay.
have a look at Matty's video. Do you know when the fans come out, where they come out and then they go down the outside bit towards the coaches, fighting each other there, the fans. Matty got it on video. I mean, it's a bit of a storm in a teacup, really. A couple of punches thrown, but watch it after this.
Adam Pearson got his camera knocked out his hand.
I saw that. I mean,
Adam,
I know it. I watched the video, and I get that the bars are for all fans, but there's plenty of other pubs you could have went to. Really,
that's the away bar. It's always been known as the away bar, the Irish bar. It's the away bar. I'll stick up for Adam Pearson when I think he's done something right, but when I think he's in the wrong, I'll say it's ridiculous. What do you expect to happen?
I think he was looking for a bit of a reaction.
Of course, he was clickbaiting it. That's what we should do. I'm going to send.
I don't know if it's clickbait, but I think he was looking for a reaction.
Of course, it is. It's that ad revenue. We're not monetized yet, but when we are, believe me, I'll be sending you to the Irish bar, wrapped up in black and white. I'll be egging you on. I'll be like, on deck, I'll have a little headset. I'll go, now call him a cunt. have a GoPro.
You're a cunty.
I'll be doing all them tactics. But what I want to say to finish it off really is there's loads of people on Twitter stressing, really, really stressed out now about Liverpool. I know you've got the thing about Liverpool as well, right?
I said this over a month ago.
Yeah.
I said this.
Or also, if you get a mention on Twitter from Kev of All the Pies, it's Kev's Twitter account, but I run it because he doesn't know how to use Twitter because he's an idiot. So I've reached the maximum people I can add on the All the Pies one. So I'm now set one up as Kev. So it's not Kev, it's me. So if you ever think, I'm talking to famous Kev, you're talking to me. But yeah, people are really stressing about it. Look, all we need, right, is 2 wins and a draw to guarantee Champions League. Out of the next 4, we need 2 wins and a draw. That's all we need. We might even need less than that. 2 wins and might do it on goal difference.
I'd earmark this game as one of the ones we could afford to slip up on. And I'm not talking about like what we've got left. I'm talking about when we still had Everton to play and we still had West Ham to play, when we still had Southampton to play. When I looked at the running then, I looked at the games where we could pick up points, and I'd earmarked one as Arsenal as one where we could afford to slip up on them ones. We can afford to slip up on them ones. The ones we can't afford to slip up on are the Leeds game and the Leeds game. Yeah, Leeds and Leicester, they're the 2 we can't afford to slip up on, because the other ones are difficult games. I mean, I know Chelsea's not doing too well this season, but I do not want it to come down to that last game.
No, I don't.
Really
away on the last day of the season, no.
Brighton, I've got a bad feeling about Brighton, but again, it's a game I've earmarked that we could potentially slip up on, because I'm still sticking by we need 2 wins. I don't think Liverpool are going to overturn the goal difference. No. If we get those 2 wins, so if we get a win against Leeds and we get a win against Leicester, that means we'd have to get absolutely humped off Brighton and Chelsea. I don't think that's going to happen. So I don't even think we need the draw. I just think we need 2 wins, and we're goal difference to see we're through.
Well, I think 2 wins and a draw would be perfect, but I don't see we're getting beat for the next 4 games. I really don't see we're getting beat. I think Brighton's going to be a tough one, but I think again it's not going to be as tough as Arsenal, and St James's is going to be fucking fired up. Had it have been away, then I would have been really threatened. Yeah, but with it being at home.
How long ago does it feel when we played Brighton down there and it was 0-0? It was in August.
Was it?
Last year. It was in August of last year. I remember I was in Butlins with the band. Yeah. I was in Butlins, and it was scorching hot, and we got the lucky 0-0 draw. I mean, they were all over, absolutely all over. But it just feels like it was last season. It effectively nearly was, really.
But they have got a lot of games to play. So hopefully fatigue catches up with them. And I just please want Longstaff back in. Please. But anyway, we'll go to Leeds.
Yeah.
We'll go to Leeds at the weekend. Is it Saturday or Sunday? Saturday or Sunday? I think it's Saturday. But anyway, we'll go to Leeds, and yeah, we need a win. We need a win at Leeds, and I'm confident we will get a win at Leeds. But we will be back.
Right, up against Pep Allardyce, aren't we?
Yeah.
Pep Allardyce.
To be fair, he did tighten them up against City. He did.
He did. I tightened his waist belt as well.
Yeah.
We should get him on all the pies. Like he's definitely a pie head, isn't he? If I looked at somebody and thought hey, he'd be a pie head, him
100%.
Sam Allardyce he could be the face of all the pies.
100%. Definitely. Anyway, we will be back later on in the week with the Leeds preview. So please remember to hit that like button. It really helps spread the video around to all fans who enjoy this type of content. Hit subscribe if you haven't yet done that, and comment below what your thoughts were on the Arsenal match, and what you think our chances are of getting Champions League. We will see you again later on this week. Take care. Watch what you're doing. See you all later. Ta-ra.